Hey y'all, welcome back. We are in week 2 of April and we have some exciting drills. So I think I mentioned in the description of this one that this is a transition move in between twist, parry, punch, and then diagonal flying. And I looked for it and I didn't find it in Taiji for beginners, nor an older DVD Tai Chi applications. So it might be in one of the books. I still have yet to find it. But what this is a wrist grab and an escape from a wrist grab. So when you punch here, the opponent grabs the wrist. You coil, and leaving the left hand attached is what allows for the break right here. So if you can imagine someone grabs the hand there, the left hand gets in the way of the other person's grab. If you disconnect your left hand as you do that coil, you're not likely to break the wrist grab as easily. So that's what I do here. I yang coil, and that left hand might be more engaged when you try this with a partner. And then I go into the diagonal flying. So here I'm just working on the coil. What's important is the deep pong and the chest and spine movement. So this right shoulder is interesting here. What happens is with that right shoulder, it sort of points out and to the front, because at the same time, I don't want to bring the opponent into my center as I coil the hand in. See, this coil in here can possibly bring the opponent to the center. So that's key. There might be some leg work involved when you apply this. For the most part, we're just working on the upper body there. So deep pong, coil, and then go into the diagonal flying. And then I just return the right hand for another punch to loop the drill. Staying in horse stance. Try to also feel the connection to the feet. So chest close, chest open. Exhale, chest close, inhale, exhale. Chest open, chest close here. So remember, we're coming from parry and punch. That's why the left hand is attached to the forearm. Left hand is attached to the forearm, which we see a lot in the form. That left hand attached to the forearm, and there are various reasons why we see that. So we also see it, or we just looked at it, where the left hand comes up to block, and then we step in for pong. And now we're seeing it break the wrist grab when the opponent grabs the right wrist. So interesting coil and technique there. Now we're going to diagonal flying. And I break this down, but here you'll see the full body movement. There's 2 repetitions in the form. We go to one side and then we go to the other side. And what I note in the description is that the infinity drill is, I would say, the root drill of this posture. So what's key and what's needed is softness and relaxation in the hips. Right? When you're sinking low and you're twisting the joints in this way, it can be harsh on the connective tissues of the joints. So we need that relaxation. We need the openness of the joints. And so the infinity drill, practicing that, will allow for this. And then there's also some twisting that's needed, which we'll look at in a second. So so here you'll see more subtle twisting, and it's needed so that the upper arm can come cross center and then the lower arm can take over. So the upper arm crosses the center, lower arm takes over. And this is so I'm blocking and then taking over to grab, blocking or neutralizing rather, pulling, plucking. So the top hand neutralizes, bottom hand grabs. Top hand neutralizes, it has to cross the center, lower hand grabs. And what's needed and what is happening as well at the same time is that you're retreating into the stance. That's why you're also moving backward in the stance, as well as the center when you pong, when you use the chest, that's retreating as well. So all of that is happening. Refer to the previous section of the video, and you'll be able to see the arms and the legs work together. And you'll see from the side, when you look from the when you look at the section, you'll see that the whole body yields, right? And the whole body yielding allows for this upper hand and that lower hand to work in harmony. The body and the center and the chest has to yield. So here we see a side view. You can see the back and the shoulders engage. And now we're coming to a difficult part of the form. We're looking at the transition. Need that deep lunge there. Right before wind pass through the ears. So from strike the tiger to kick and then wind pass through the ears. You want to drop into a low stance for strike the tiger, but you want to be cautious and move gracefully into the kick prior to wind pass through the ears. So let's look at what this guy has to say about it, and then we'll try it.
Extension or a heel toe transition and weight transition to the front leg. Boom. So the transition into wind pass through the ears from strike the tiger. The difficulty is remaining low without rising, transitioning without rising. So you want to remain low here, boom. So what you need to do, it's a heel toe transition. Adjust your feet, heel toe there, and then heel toe there. Okay, and then it's a deep lunge, weight transition. So you lift the heel, and now you have 80% to 90% of the weight on the leg. So now you are posted on the left, you're free to kick. And that brings you to wind pass through the ears.
All right, so now we're trying it. And you'll see the need, and you should also, as you try it, feel the need for the deep lunge. And deep lunge is basically elongated stance. So right here, we're in Tame the Tiger stance. This point here is a deep lunge, and then you have to roll through it gracefully with the heel toe transition. So these are stances that we take from Kung Fu training. Tame the tiger stance. And that is what we conclude strike the tiger with. Notice there how I lose my balance and I correct it. I just go back into sitting on cross legs, which is another stance. The gravel here is pretty challenging. On your floor, you may not have to deal with that. So tame the tiger stance, heel toe transition, turning the waist, soft hips, coming into false stance, and then you can kick. So that's also an option too. You have all these small points where you can just sort of stop and pass through. Deep lunge there, weight transition, false stance, and then kick. I step back there because I lose my balance, but you notice how I just step back into a regular cross leg stance, false stance. So I'm utilizing my stances. And these are all stances we learn in Kung Fu. And I'm utilizing them to hold my balance and just stay on my line and stay in my posture. False stance, tame the tiger, cross leg stance, kick, false stance, tame the tiger. Remember, so that's a deep lunge. Now let's look at the upper body of wind pass through the ears. Nice Qigong drill for the shoulders. And then if you use a Taiji soft fist posture in the hands, you should be able to feel that energy circulating. So you take the thumb and press it against the index and the middle finger and hold it there. The wrist is relaxed. Elbow is relaxed. Here, drop down, closing the spine, open spine and chest, close spine, open and close. And so you want to let that facilitate the arm movement. And when we're twisting here, we're just getting more out of the drill and going into the back, into the torso, and into the hips. And that is if you keep the feet parallel. So that's what's key, is also keeping the feet parallel. That's twisting the knees, the ankles, the hips, so that you have some stretching going on in the joints, just some light stimulation. And that's wind pass through the ears. And the final drill we are looking at is after the kick. Well, we're looking at the kick and then the neutralization down before circle the fist. So the goal is to rep out both sides of the kick. So that's what I'm doing here. You should go back, read the description, where I detail it in length. I lock here, so you'll see what's normal is the circle the fist, parry, and punch. That is what's in the form. We're bypassing that and going to kicking. So locking down, going into kicking. Locking down, going into kicking. Locking down, going into now what you see is the normal part of the form, parry and punch, and that's right before seal tightly. So let's see it again. Kick. And that's important here that after you right here drop and lock, stay with intention in the hands as you coil, because you're locking the opponent's arm here, and hypothetically they pull back and retreat. When you pull back and retreat, you lock or you stay attached rather and clear to kick again, lock, and that is circle the fist, normal movement to the form. And so this is key in what I notate in the description is that as we loop the drill to rep out both sides, you want to sort of have a notion of why we loop the drill and what might cause us to do that. So if you need to, go back and read that. That's going to conclude April week 2. Thank you for watching and joining the Taijiquan calendar series 2019.